was born in a small city, in something you would probably call a big block of flats. Someone once told me that's the only big thing that's ever going to happen to me. And looking at the story from my today's perspective, I don't think she was my best friend. I don't think that anymore. It's funny how time can change the way you look at certain stories. I come from a working class family. My mom was a nurse and my dad was a coal miner. And if there was one thing that I consider the lesson for life I got from them, that would be that if you want it, you got to earn it. And that work is value. And it's actually funny how that sphere goes, because remember, not that long ago, half of our nation was waking up in the morning moaning about having to go to work. We actually made it our national sport. And then all of a sudden, from one day to another, we went from that mode to automatically being grateful for having a job, just because so many people around us were losing it. And that got me to a conclusion that gratitude is a direct consequence of a deficit. In other words, if you don't experience deficit, you are unable to feel one of the most beautiful and enriching feelings of humankind, which is the feeling of being grateful. Last year was pretty brutal to me, and to give you a bit of a flavor of what I mean by that, within a fairly short period of time, I got divorced. And you've got to know that that wasn't a scenario that I was ever planning for myself. In other words, it wasn't supposed to happen to me. I also lost a very dear friend of mine one day after his 39th birthday. And within pretty much the same time frame, I also left and resigned from something you would probably call a very good job, without having an alternative, without having a new one already waiting for me. And I did that just because I felt that was the right thing to do. And by then, I was already a so-called single mother with a mortgage and the leased car. And many times when life treats you harshly, people tell you, oh, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, or they give you all these quotes that are supposed to make you feel better, but they just crap and they don't mean anything. Because to me, my midlife lesson is that if you are going through a very hard time, the only focus on your mind is to survive. And the way to survive is through people who surround you and actually can make you believe that you are stronger and better than you really think you are. And it's funny because I even caught myself on getting used to all those great people. You know how it is when your brain gets used to things that happen in your life. For example, when you met your partner back in the days and he or she was making you breakfast every day, every morning, you used to be very grateful for it. You used to notice every single day. And now, after 10 years, he or she keeps on doing it, but you are not even noticing. It's your daily life. And it's so easy for us to get used to great things that are happening in our lives that we end up just walking past them. And to me, I got a lesson from that story, and I am going to continuously being grateful for all the great people who are around me. Because time and life is a short film. And we all know that, carpe diem and so on, fine. But I am 38. I'm 38 this year, which means that looking at the medical history of my family, if no accidents happen, that gives me about another 40 years to go in a reasonable shape. And that means I have 350,400 hours to go. And that means that by the end of today, my count will already be 350,000 hours, 392. Whenever time is the only currency of our world right now. It's not money, it's not gold, it's not land. It's not Botox. It's time. And it's so important where we allocate it to. Especially when you are raising two kids. I'm a mother of two girls. And many times when I talk to my friends about life, sometimes I ask people, so what is the biggest value of your life? And they often go, without thinking, it's a no-brainer, they go, family. And then I ask them, so how much time do you spend with them? A day, a week, a month? And sometimes these conversations get a bit awkward at that point. Because what often happens is that while we declare certain values to be most important to us, then we forget to assign the amount of time that the relationship requires. I'm the mother of two, as I told you, and I remember when I was in a very difficult moment of my professional life, a very hectic one, and I was already at home one day. I mean, my body was at home, but my mind was still somewhere else. I was already at home trying to be everything, trying to be a mother, trying to be a cook, trying to be a manager, and trying to be a counselor of many things. And I remember I was holding my phone, one of my phones, at my ear, and the second one in my hand, I was trying to text. And my older daughter, she approached me, and she was pulling my skirt, saying, "Mom, I need something." She was trying to ask me a question. And after the second or the third attempt, I said, "Look, just give me a moment. Something very important is happening at work. Mommy needs to work." And then she looked at me with her big blue eyes and the full honesty of the world on her face, saying, "Mom, what is more important, your work or your kids?" I cried that night. And many times when people, specifically women, experience those moments, people tell you that, oh, a happy mother is a happy child. And that quote is there to make you feel better about yourself, allocating the absolute majority of your time to work and not being as present at home as you would wish for. And to me today, a happy mother is a happy mother. There is no automatism between your professional fulfillment and your child's happiness. Yes, it is cool to have a smiling mom, but it is equally great to have her present. And I am not saying that we should be choosing, no, not at all. I am one of these people who need to work. This is how I was raised. This is one of the values that is very important to me in my life. If I wasn't working, I would be a sad, sad, sad person, an unhappy one. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes, every now and then, each of us should sit down with ourselves, our brains, our emotions, and go through an assessment of what you declare your values and more and most important things are, versus how much time you allocate to these zones. And speaking about raising kids, there's also two things that I'm pretty radical about. And these are the zones of truth and trust. And truth is actually not something that comes natural to us. As a nation, we've only been free for 30 years. I remember back in the days, people were bringing stuff from work, like rubbish bags or toiletries. We wouldn't be calling them thieves, even though they were actually stealing. We would be admiring them. We would be saying they are resourceful. I remember one time we went with my kids to the swimming pool, and we were standing at the counter, and the lady asked me how old they were. And I truthfully said 3 and 6. And then the lady smiled, blinked at me, saying, "Oh, if the little one was 2, she could enter for free." So I smiled back, saying, "Thank you, but indeed, she is 3, and if that means that I need to pay for the ticket, I'm happy to do that." And only then that lady got the point. She actually felt she was doing me a favor. And the second sphere is the sphere of trust. And semantics don't help us in that zone, because we often say, "Oh, I don't trust you," as if it was a gift to you. Or if someone mistreats you, you go, "Oh, I'm never going to trust anyone again," as if it was a punishment to anyone. Where in fact, trust is our biggest treasure. And it's our most dear property. So today, I stand here in front of you before entering the second half of my life, absolutely ready to trust the world and the people around me. I refuse to take anything for granted, even my closest friends, who are pretty obvious to me. And I'm ready to exercise the muscle of gratitude in my life. I'm very much ready to live a good, honest, and caring life, making every hour of it somehow matter. So here I am, trying to make this hour of my life an adventure. Thank you for spending it with me, because indeed, it was an hour of your life too. Thank you.